Hello there, Master Hellish here. Welcome back to my OpenTTD Series 10 Let's Play. This series is a play-along series, so you can actually go and play along too. Go to masterhellish.net/S10 and you can get the map and all the information you need to play along. And if you haven't started yet, don't worry. We're taking a slow pace through this series so you can catch up with your gameplay no problem. The year in my game is 1950 and I asked you for your 1950 game saves, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. Thank you to everybody who submitted them. I've got quite a few, and because we're going to do a double episode this week, I think we'll do 3 episodes of this. Normally I do 2, so we'll have 2 this week and 1 next week, and then we'll be back to the normal episodes the week after. So let's get a reference point, a frame of reference, compared to me and how well I'm doing. This is January the 1st, 1950 in my game save. Hellish City is just under 10,000 in population. You can see here that we've grown for 209 months out of the 240 months that have passed. That information is up here in the goals, and you can see for the most part we're satisfying all the delivery goals very well. The sodium hydroxide is a little bit rubbish. So that's the kind of Hellish Inc. challenge and how we're doing on there, and the city there, the Hellish City, that's quite good but could be better. And down here, look at the company itself, we've got 281 trains, some ships and aircraft, and a load of road vehicles. And the company value is 62 million. We've got 41 million in the bank at the moment, and we've got quite a lot of big infrastructure in terms. We've got a score of 45,000 of rail pieces. So let's have a look at the first person submission. And by the way, I'm not able to show them all, so what I do is I just pick at random from the ones that have been submitted. So let's have a look at our first random person. And first up, we've got Danny Boy Transit Authority. That's an interesting name for a company. I like it. 79 trains, company value of 51 million and 47 million in the bank. Financially doing rather well. If we look at Hellish City, it has grown, and it has grown a nice little bit, and it's at 5,600 in population, which is quite good. Not quite as good as what we've been doing, but it is still quite good. And you can see here with the deliveries and so forth, doing rather well. And we've supplied 209 months out of the 240 in total. So there's been a little bit of stagnation there, but you can see it looks like the glass storage is something that is struggling potentially a little bit at the moment. Let's have a look at the layout and a few different things that are going on here. So here we have Hellish City. We've got 4 main stations surrounding Hellish City. Let's have a look what's happening over here. So we've got a bridge. Let's just make that bridge transparent. We've got a bridge going over a load of tunnels for this particular design here. It looks quite similar to the design that I would use for a station like this, and the length of the train is using 6 length trains. Nice looking station using the British stations. What is it there? Let's have a look. It's using the, where is it? British station platforms, yes, to make nice looking stations there. And we've got double depots on all the entrances, and we've got some tunnels coming out there. A dip going up and down here could be potentially improved by putting a bridge in so that you didn't have the dip, although I'm not sure if that dip would cause any problems. What could cause some problems is this little piece of rail here. Let me just get the invisibility options up and just make stations invisible. That's what also makes your depot see-through as well. You can see we've got a big cross section of track here. That's fine apart from this bit. That is what I call the forbidden piece of track. Let's remove that. No, remove it. Remove that track. If a train gets lost and ends up in one of those 2 depots, it will just cross between the 2 depots and stay there, getting lost, staying lost. Now, if you remove that bit of track, it doesn't stop the train from getting lost, but what it will do is it will force the train to continue on down the line. So it won't turn left because there's a signal here that's stopping its route, but it will force it to have to turn right and go into the station. And once it's done that, it'll turn around and go down the line. And once it's going down the line, it might get unlost. It might not get unlost, but it might get unlost. If you leave that bit of track there, it's definitely going to be lost. Now here, this is the opposite way round from what it should be. You've got the forbidden bit of track. We need it probably like that. It depends whether you want the depots to be optional or not. That's optional. That is forced. So if you wanted forced depots, we're like this. If you want optional depots, you like this. So that's probably just you've done it correctly here and so forth. So just missing a bit of track. I miss it sometimes. I miss it as well. Sometimes I forget. What could be? I mean, this is okay. There's a bit of a wiggle here in the track, like a double wiggle, and then it turns round on itself. That could potentially slow the trains down quite a bit. You probably... yeah, I mean, what you could have done is just have a line I mean, it's down to personal preferences, isn't it? So, what I would do if I was designing this section of track is I would do something a little bit more like this. Bring this piece of track out here, straighten this one off, like that. And then that's your inline, which you can connect up, I don't know, like over here or however you like. And then you don't need this bridge. And these tunnels can be a little bit more straight. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. These tunnels can be a little bit more straightforward. So you can have, you don't need this kink here. And obviously that train wouldn't be in the way because you'd be removing that line. This is your entrance now. I mean, to me, that's neater and better, but it's down to personal preference. But it's a nice discussion point in terms of track and station design. Speaking of track design, I can see you've got signal spacing here. Looks like your signal spacing is length 4. That's fine. If you want to condense your trains down, you can do a signal spacing of 2 or 1. We're not playing with infrastructure maintenance turned on. So if you go into this screen and into this screen, you can see that it counts your infrastructure, but then at the bottom there's no charge. Now back in Series 6 we had this turned on. It's not on by default, and it's kind of an optional extra. You can give yourself that extra little challenge, but we're not having that in this one. We've got the 4 challenges. So Hellish City growing, looking good, especially with these stations. I like the looks of these stations. Reserving space here for your station to grow, very good. What I would also do, if I was you, is also reserve the space out the front of the station. Otherwise, you might find that your city starts expanding into this area here, and then you can't get your track in without deleting stuff. It looks like you've done it over here, but I would do it down there too. Again, nice station designs we got going on here. You can see that we're using the ISR, various different, bit of variety in the different platforms and stations there. That's quite good. This one here doesn't have that kink issue. So the design that you've used, the trains come out, they do 1 kink and out. So if you are, yeah, this is better than what you had. Whoa, camera down here. What was here before I changed it. So there you haven't got the kink problem, and it looks like you've got all your depots sorted fine here as well. So just goes to show you, you do know what you're doing, don't you? Yes. Well, that's Hellish City. Let's have a look at some of the other parts of the network. Here, these junctions are usually quite interesting. Tell a lot about a player they do, about how they do things like that. So we can see we've got a line coming off the main line, and then loops back round and turns over. Looking at this, you got a length 4 there, length 3 here, and length 3 here. So having these turns a little bit longer won't actually stop the train from slowing down. It is a nice aesthetic to have trains sweeping round rather than just turning a big corner, which is nice. And you've got a quarry here going across and under. Oh, look at this. We've got an interesting station track design here. So this is similar to a cloverleaf, but it is not a cloverleaf. It's not. Maybe it's a variant upon one, but there is a gap in the middle which allows you to have these bridges and dips and so forth. If you want to go straight on, you can. If you want to go to... Yeah, I like this. This is a nice little compact junction. I mean, it wouldn't work very well for high capacity areas because these lengths here, for example, are too short. So if you had this piece of track busy and you had a train sat waiting at this signal, you see where my cursor and highlighting the track is, the back of the train would block the line behind it and other trains would have to queue. For me, a good junction, and this is a good junction, but a better version of this junction would be slightly bigger to allow trains to wait in these sections without blocking the lines behind them. But it's an interesting junction and it's nice to see. I like that. Of course, a good use of bridges going up and across, but then going using that up, changing land height there. Not completely destroying the hillsides, which is nice. Okay, cool. So, Hellish City and stuff going on well, and we can see we've got this city down here providing passengers. You've got depots on your sides of your station. I mean, that's okay. Personally, I prefer to have them not at terminus stations like that, but there's a personal preference. Let's have a look across the world and see what else is going on, shall we? So it doesn't look like you've done any of the preservation lands or any of the no train zone yet. To be fair, in this early stage of the game, I don't expect most people to have done that because Hellish City is a time-sensitive challenge, which is why I think a lot of people focused on that first. But you have started working on this area down here. We've got another one of those nice little junctions. Cracking. Good use of the stations, and look at this. What is this? Why have we got a depot here and a piece of track with a train that doesn't appear to go anywhere? What's going on there? Is that just aesthetic? Let's have a look at train 70. What? It's empty. It's made some money. Is that part of a separate station, maybe? It may be that these two bits are different stations. Let's see if I can... Coverage? Okay. So it looks like... And it's quite... I'm going to unpause the game because move the train out of the way. Yes. Yes. Okay, this is clever. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. What we've got here is a shuttle transfer. So let me just highlight that again. So the main unloading station here is one station, but you've also got this kind of extra bit sat on the side. And that is separate to the coverage here. You can see we've got these like bus depots, and these towers, these hoppers, are part of the same station as those bus drop-offs, or the truck drop-off, I should say, not bus. So the trucks come in, drop off, and somehow then that feeds into this train that drops it off into this area here, which is really good as well. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, it looks cool and it's a nice little thing to do, but again, not sure why. I think it might just be for funsies. Because this is getting coal coming in. I'm pretty sure all of these trains coming in here are carrying coal coming in, and all of these trucks here are carrying coal coming in, right? Yeah, tons of coal. So you're just coming in, you're dropping things off. That accepts coal. Oh, right. I was looking at it backwards. So no, that accepts coal as well. I don't know. I see no practical... I like it, but I see no practical reasons for it. Some more... You can see here how this station... this junction is working very nicely. It's flowing good. The trains are moving. We've got an example... I mean, there's a train having to wait there, but it's the other way around from what I was thinking. Oh, but here you go. Here you go. This is a good example. So this train now, train 39, is waiting at this signal for its for the section ahead of it to become clear, but it is blocking the line down here. So if this junction was a bigger version of itself, you could avoid that, it would vastly improve the efficiency of the junction. Having said that, like, I don't think that would happen very often. Like, there's no train behind it coming now. The throughput of that section of the line isn't so important. But nice junctions, nice little slips here for the depots. Again, would be better if these lengths here, before and after the depots, were as long as the train to allow them to get up to speed. For example, if a train was coming into this depot, they would slow down going into the depot, and the back of the train would still be on the main line. But overall, brilliant little map. Love some of the little details. All the wonky stations and bits and bobs. Absolutely fantastic. These sorts of bits here to make sure you're not crossing the lines are cool, and you've got your depots off the main line, which always helps. Fantastic to see. Going really well. Brilliant, thank you. Let's go on to the next one. Secondly, for today, we've got Insanity Solutions. I love that name for a company. It's fantastic. We can see here that we've got Hellish City coming up to the 9,000 mark, so only just behind where we are in our Let's Play. If we expand this screen here, we can see that the town has not been supplied in the last 6 months. Let's see what the problem is. Looks like electrical parts and sodium hydroxide are being particularly difficult here. Glass is a little bit low too. I found glass not too bad. Maybe I'll struggle with glass in the future, but sodium hydroxide was very difficult indeed. Overall, the company's doing very, very well. 100,000 in company value and 75 million in the bank account. Let's take a closer look at what's going on in Hellish City. So here we got Hellish City here, and we've got all different bits and junctions coming in. Can see that they're just using the, I think that's the, no, it's not the default stations. So for all of these stations, we are using the British Stations mod, I think, to make them look like the way that they are. Even for potentially the industrial looking ones, there is a little bit, yeah, so we're not using ISR on most of these stations by the looks of it. But what's going on here? We've got cast iron going in, glass going in, we've got sulfur and stuff going out. Things are labelled nicely. Let's get rid of those labels so we can see a little bit better what's going on here. So the city is growing, and it is growing quite nicely. You've got some nice entrances here. We've got something similar to what we talked about last time with the nice long ways in. Tunnels coming out for the trains to go into these stations. This kind of station design here, it's not the most optimal performance. Like, it's not maxing out the super special performance, but it is a fantastic compromise between something that looks nice, works well, and is easy-ish to do. So that's really good. And we've got tunnels going under lines, signal spacing quite close together. That's going to keep your trains nice and smooth. And look at this. I think this is the first time I've seen this in this series, is that we've got double-headed trains. Now, this is something that I considered doing, but in the end, I didn't. I don't know what was the main reason why I didn't do it. I think I didn't want to have to mess around with train lengths and removing engines and then adding more carriages and things. I kind of wish I'd just gone length 12 for my trains in the first place, so I don't have to go around and replace a load of vehicles when more powerful trains come out. But these trains will have a much better acceleration than mine. In fact, what we can do is we can actually show you the difference in the horsepower. So if we unpause the game and send this train to the depot, we can have a look. So we can see in its information here that the performance, the minimum performance of this train as it goes into the depot, is 3.5 horsepower per ton. Okay, 3.5 horsepower per ton. But if I go in here and we modify this, I'm going to cheat a little by just cloning. We take one of the engines off and we put an extra passenger carriage on. There we go. You can see here that the horsepower is now only 2.1 horsepower per ton. So we have significantly reduced the performance of that engine, of that train, just by having one engine. What sort of realistic difference this makes in the game in terms of the train's acceleration, how much profit you make and efficiency, I'm not entirely sure. There's a lot of variables going on there, and you probably have to do some specific tests, and maybe that's something we'll do in the future. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me do those sorts of tests on the mechanics of the game, and if you do, I will do some special spotlight videos looking at things like that. But for now, let's take a look here. So we've got our wharf. Most people have done a wharf near the city and have done some sort of canal or river into that wharf, which is fantastic. We've got stuff being delivered here. Yeah, okay, cool. So nice little stations, different lengths used in different places for different things. We've got a lot of stations here that are kind of... Oh, that one says it's 11 in length, I think. I don't know if that's a mistake. That one's 12. Did I make a mistake? No, that one's 11. What? Is this one 11 as well then? How is... What? Oh, it is longer. It is longer. Okay, right. So we've got a station that's 11, one that's 12 here. Some big stations over here. Look at the nice little entrance that we got going on. Again, looks good. Quite efficient. Not the most efficient. It looks like we've got a train going backwards here. This is interesting. Why is this train going backwards? It can't reach its... It's trying to get to the quarry. So it's lost. And it's going backwards. I wonder why. Is it because it... Actually, I think I've got an idea. I think I've got an idea what's going on. It's trying to go to the quarry. New Honway train depot. I wonder if... What's that train depot? That's Hellish City train depot. Okay. What is that? That's a waypoint. That's Hellish City Glass waypoint. And there's the waypoint. Right. What I think might have happened here is the train was going down the line towards the waypoint and decided to service, and then ended up in one of the depots, and then tried to go back to the waypoint, and is now facing the wrong direction. I can understand why you'd do a waypoint like that, because trains won't use these platforms very often, but you could force extra trains to go that way by using waypoints. So it's an interesting use of waypoints. Not sure I would do a waypoint before the depots. I would try and put the waypoint after the depots. But there is a split, and you could probably do that by, like, okay, let's see if the waypoint is far enough away. So let's see, is that... Okay, so I can actually put a spread waypoint here. I can't remove that waypoint because the train's in the way, but if I unpause the game for a second, there we go. So this is now Hellish City waypoint. We can bring back the labels. Sorry, Hellish City Glass waypoint, and you can see that there's two different waypoint bits there. Also, trains can go back towards the depots if they want to, which I've never thought of that before. I wonder if it's a problem within mine. But here you can see that the trains can go through. And I think this would probably be better. I would have to test it. I've not done this myself. But logically, to me, that makes sense that if you've got the way... Oh, see, look, it's happening there again, look. Is that the same train? If we just tell it to skip an order and go to Hellish City Glass, I think the whole... That would probably be resolved. And fast forward a little bit. Yeah, look, you've got trains here going backwards towards the depot there. And then they can't see a path out. Anyway, that's good. Overall, oh god, it's a bit noisy with this one, isn't it? All those trains honking. We've got nice stations here. Good stuff going around. Forced depots before the station. So not all of these depots are forced depots, but the odd depot is forced depot. A preference here for bridges. I'm not a massive fan of that because you sometimes have to upgrade the bridges in the future. We've got a note here saying electrical parts. Okay, cool. Right then, let's go further out a little bit, have a look. So we've got a rather large city here. Quite a lot of people have used this city to get their passengers from. And there's some... Oh, look at this. Look at this. The Vehicle Assembly Mega Center. Oh, I love the naming. Fantastic. So we've got some branching of lines here. We've got one in and one out that branch off into two different depots, and each of those depots branches off into up to 3 sets of platforms. So that's okay. This could be all right like that. That's a lot of platforms though. To see all these platforms, you've got 12 different platforms for one piece of track here. So you've got one piece of track where the trains come in and it splits up and goes into 12 different platforms. I'm not sure you can get enough throughput down one track to utilize 12 platforms properly. You might find that in the end, you want to get rid of that split. In fact, just do that. And then you've got one in here and then a completely separate in here. So you've got 2 tracks going in, and then you have 2 tracks coming out. Not one in, one out. Because I don't think you could be able to utilize all 12 platforms with just one track there. So overall, that's cool. I love the way that we've got all this here. We've got an engine plant next door to the component factory, next door to the tire plant, next door to the body plant. Oh my goodness. You've got all of them coming in. It is a mega center, vehicle assembly. So tire plant, component factory, engine plant, and a body plant. And then there's this transfer here for bodies and engines and so forth, I presume. And then here is the actual the assembly plant itself that makes the vehicles. Fantastic. Okay. Oh, hang on. We go. What's going on here? Okay, we got some interesting signage happening here. That's a point. I forgot to check the middle of the map to see if they've changed any of the game settings. Oh, they have. Okay. So we've got no breakdowns enabled, and they've decided to connect every town in the no train zone. So I did say that you could change certain game settings, and remember, you can go to the website page to find out what settings you can change, but you must put a label in the middle of the map here. So no breakdowns have been enabled for this player. So let's have a quick look at the world map here. Okay, so nothing's been done in those zones yet. Oh, there's a little bit going on down here. Okay, let's see what's going on down here. So we got various different bits and bobs, some beginnings of some various different transfers. There's a bulk terminal. It's got lots of different things coming out of it, and lots of all 3 things supplied. So there's actually a good little deal of stuff that's been going on over here already. So the production is starting to ramp up and starting to go good. I like this. How there's a tunnel here and bridges ramping up to this little embankment. That's cool. That's nice. I like that. And there's a bit of stuff going on down here. What's this? Is this that's our the CAP or the plant. Acid and things coming in and out. Nice little uses of tunnels to turn corners and stuff here. This is nice. I like that. One thing I don't understand is if you've got breakdowns turned off, why have you got depots like this? Presumably just to supply new trains? Because you don't want depots near the station? Let's have a quick look at your game settings. Yeah, vehicle breakdowns are set to none. Okay, cool. Right then, okay, that is really good. Fantastic little network going on here. Some interesting stuff. Look at these depots here again. Some Humpty depots, but breakdowns are off. So I wouldn't bother with that if I had breakdowns off. I would just put like one depot, like sort of like here, just like that, and then just all your new trains come out of that. I suppose if you want to be able to, like, auto-renew your trains, like, for example, if there was a new engine coming out and you wanted to replace them, then you would need depots that were more accessible. So, I suppose in some places you do need some depots, but doing that all over the place could potentially be overkill. So it looks like maybe each line has got a set of optional double depots in places. Probably the main reason is to allow for engine upgrades and changes. So that makes sense. You do need some depots at least. Oh, wow. Well, that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much to everybody who has sent me your game saves. I am going to be looking at some more next time, but for this particular one, let me know down in the comments which of these two you particularly liked, what you liked about them. I think they're both brilliant. There's some fantastic things in there and some interesting ideas. It's brilliant to look at other people's stuff and get kind of different people's perspective on the way that they play and the way that they do things in OpenTTD. It influences me and my playstyle, and my playstyle has changed over the years dramatically from A to B, but along that line it's been like a small tweak progression all the way through, and I can see it when I look back at my older videos. Now, there we go. That's going to be all for this one. I will see you on Saturday's video, but a little reminder, we have an event coming up. I forgot to mention it at the beginning of the video. There is an event coming up, so check it out on social media. There is a YouTube stream scheduled for it, an event on the Discord and on my Facebook, and it involves OpenTTD. So go have a look, and there is a prize for the winner. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. For now, goodbye.